we're going to talk about clay origins, the composition of clay, and then also the dryness stages of clay. Anytime we work with a material in studio arts, it's good to know the background of the material that you're working with. We're going to be working with this material called clay. So clay, for right now, we want to know that clay is decomposed granite. Now, clay can come from other rocks too, but granite is one of the main rocks that clay comes from. Granite is a feldspathic rock, meaning it probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but it means that it has alumina and silica in it, which are two of the main things that are in clay. So how does this happen? Well, you have a mountain, right? And you have a timberline, and so the granite is like exposed above the timberline. You have wind, you have rain, you have the sun. So the granite kind of physically breaks down and then also chemically breaks down. So then this material right here would kind of be turning into clay. Now you say, oh, decomposed granite, that's a landscape material. It's very coarse and rough. Well, that hasn't broken all the way down to clay yet. So it takes a minimum of 10,000 years for a little chunk of granite to break all the way down into clay. A word that we're also going to use that is a synonym of clay is Kalin. All right, so this word Kaolin, all right, is a synonym for clay for us right now, for our purposes in beginning ceramics. So this material right here is called primary Kalin or first Kalin, and it has in it only what was in this granite. It doesn't have any impurities. Now, that Kalin is not going to stay right there. It's going to get rained on, it's going to get into a water source, and then it's going to deposit itself somewhere else. All right, and yes, you guessed it, this is called secondary Kalin or sedimentary Kaolin. All right, I'll have a page that outlines this all for you, but really what you need to know about secondary or sedimentary Kaolin is that it has moved from the source and it has picked up impurities. Those two things have to be present in the definition of secondary Kaolin, or it's not the correct definition. So now talking about clay stages. The first stage of clay that we're going to talk about is called slip. All right, that's like a really wet clay, all right, a liquid clay basically. So here I have my lidded container, and you can see inside it's liquidy, right? So that is slip, all right? This is used to join pieces of clay together and stuff. That is slip. Actually, I would probably call this, because it's really lumpy and not refined, I would actually call that slurry. So a slurry is an unrefined liquid clay, all right? Slip is liquid clay. Slurry is unrefined liquid clay. And then we also have wet, or commonly referred to as plastic clay, all right? That is what comes to us in our clay bag, all right? It's malleable, it's formable, we can make things out of it. It's a time when we can build things out of it, all right? Can't really get it to stand up, though. If we thin it out and stand it up, it's going to keel over because it's too wet. And then the stage after wet clay would be when some of the moisture comes out of it, it's leather hard. See, I can bend this and flex it. It'll kind of stay, right? That's called leather hard. So as more moisture goes away, we have leather hard clay, all right? And then finally, once all the moisture is gone, once all the moisture is gone, this is what's called bone dry. See how brittle that is, right? It turns to like dust, okay? That's the best way to make slip. If I put this bone dry clay in here, it'll soak up that water really, really quick and make slip really quick, way quicker than this will. All right, so the last stage in terms of dryness is called bone dry, all right? That is no moisture, all right? There's no moisture left in the clay, very brittle. You don't want to work with clay when it's in this stage, all right? So for beginning ceramics, this is a really good general understanding of the origins of clay, where it comes from, and then also the stages of clay. Liquid clay to plastic clay to leather hard to bone dry. Once your work is bone dry, remember it's going to be really fragile. So we're going to be dropping stuff off at the studio to be fired. So you don't want to work on it when it's bone dry because you're going to end up possibly breaking it. All right? Very good.